Hello, beautiful people. Good evening if you are in Europe, and good almost afternoon. I think late morning if you're on the West Coast, afternoon if you're on the East Coast. Hopefully, I got that right. Thank you guys so much for being here. And if you are watching the replay tonight, thank you for being here as well. I see you and appreciate you. Um, we are gonna have a very chill, relaxed little hangout here tonight, and we have a little bit of an agenda, which I will get into in a second. But for now, we're gonna hang out. We're gonna give people a chance to show up, and then we're gonna get into it. Then we're gonna sink our teeth into some juicy stuff here. So yeah. How is everybody doing? How's things? How's life? It's been probably 6 months since I've done a live stream on YouTube. I did a live stream the other day playing video games, but those are very so incredibly chill for me, whereas these ones I sometimes get a little bit nervous for, so bear with me. It's been a hot minute since I've done this. I'm gonna try to just relax myself. Hello, Samantha. Hello, Carrie Tech Electronics. How are you doing? How are things? Meow to you too. Samantha says, love the chill vibe today. Thank you. I'm always in search of really, really good background music for live streams, and it's hard to come by. A lot of the background music is a little bit too much energy or just too much elevator music. Today is probably leaning more towards elevator music, but it's so chill and relaxing that I'm actually really enjoying this. But yeah, do let me know, okay, so housekeeping. I'm gonna just turn it down a tiny bit. Please let me know throughout tonight's stream if the music is too loud, if it's so quiet it's basically non-existent and you'd like me to lift it up a little bit, if my audio levels are poor, if I'm talking too quietly, or if I'm too loud, or if there's any technical issues. I'm reliant on you telling me. I won't know about them, so please do just let me know. Yeah, thank you. Hello, Clara Mel's. Clara says, hi, your hair is so cute. Thank you. I may or may not have dyed it just for this stream, so thank you so much. Yeah, it was pretty faded, and I was like, I'm doing this live stream, so I need to zhuzh it up a little bit. So you're getting it fresh, where it looks really vibrant and really beautiful, and it'll look like this for 2 washes, and then it will be faded all the way down. Hello, Azari. Azari says, loving your hair highlights. Thank you so much, lovely. Glad you guys are liking the effort I put into this hair. We worked real hard on it. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Samantha says the level is perfect in my honest opinion. Thank you, Samantha. That's great to hear. Okay, while I'm doing housekeeping, we are not officially, don't tell anyone. I'm pretty sure you're not really supposed to, but we are, me just telling on myself right at the start of the stream, we are streaming to 2 different platforms today. So if you get a little bit confused with where the chats are coming from, we are chatting on a platform called Restream, not sponsored. So we are streaming on both YouTube and Twitch, so you will see messages tonight from both platforms, hopefully, assuming everything works correctly. And you will see those messages marked as Twitch or marked as YouTube, depending on which platform you are on. So apologies if that gets a little bit confusing. I really like for just everybody to be included in the chat at all times. So that's what I'm striving to create here. So yeah, so there you go. That's that. Trying to think of any other housekeeping things. Be nice to me, please. I find Restream very difficult to moderate with, so if somebody starts bullying me, I might not be able to do anything about it. So just be nice, you know. Yeah. Okay. The H stands for humble. I've never heard it interpreted that way, but that's interesting. Cool. Sweet. Awesome. Okay, so Agenda for this stream tonight. Let's get into it. Okay, so I tend to like to do live streams after I publish a video essay. I like to sort of do a little kind of like discussion, a little decompression over every time that I do, yeah, an essay. So that is what this live stream is all about. So if you at any moment have any questions for me, if there's anything that you would like to chat to me about, this can be about the topic of the last video essay. We're gonna turn the music down a tiny bit again because this song's like a little bit more happening. I mean, it's literally called Hopping. The song's called Hopping. It's a little bit more hopping and I need it to just chill out a little. So if there's anything at all that you would like to talk to me about, be that in relation to the last video essay or be it in relation to any of my videos or just anything else, anything in general, this is an opportunity to discuss those things. I have a few things that I would like to talk about in relation to the last video. And yeah, every once in a while, the camera's going to do that. It's going to just like boop, boop, and it's going to like do a really awkward, unflattering freeze of my expression. It's always fun. It's always entertaining. So enjoy. I don't know why it does that. So yeah, okay. So these streams function as a space to process the philosophy, etc., discussed in the last video, and then also just, yeah, in general kind of Q&A, a hangout, etc., etc. If you are new here, like I do want to say as well, you don't have to have watched the last video. I'm going to do my best not to talk about things with the assumption that you have seen them. So it's completely, absolutely fine if you haven't watched the last video. It's fine if you haven't watched any of my videos. I don't know why you're here, but I'm happy to have you. If you are new to the channel, I thought I would just do a little introduction. I'm aware that people tend to join up when I release a new video and might not know me super well. So this is a chance to get to know me. So feels very like self-indulgent and narcissistic, but it's a live stream and I'm the only one talking, so it's gonna be that. My name is Marceline. I am originally from California. I was born and raised on the central coast of California. I reside now in London. I got my degree in I did my undergrad in English literature and music, and then I did my postgrad in contemporary critical theories, which is a philosophy degree. So that tends to inform a lot of the essays that I make. When I started making video essays, I did like 1 or 2 video essays. I think my first 2 were kind of like random, but when I started doing my degree, what really got me into video essays was a desire to incorporate the academic work that I was doing in school and translate that into a creative and artistic medium. So the first like 3 or 4 video essays I made on the channel are basically just translations of essays I wrote for school. And I got loads of comments of people being like, this is like so academic and pretentious. And I was like, yeah, it was literally an essay I wrote for school. Like, you're right. Hello, Narcissa. Welcome to the stream tonight. How are you? How are things? I missed the last video somehow. Good to see you though. It's good to see you too. And yeah, don't worry at all if you missed the last video. We're gonna talk a little bit about it tonight, and I will give context to what that video was about. There is no pressure to have seen that to participate in what we're talking about. And yeah, if at any moment you want to interrupt me and talk about something else, we can do that too. We probably will do a lot of that. I think it's possible I have undiagnosed ADHD, and I tend to ramble and topic switch quite often, which I've heard is a trait of ADHD-ness. So that may happen. Hello, Liv. It's so nice to see you. How have you been? It's been a hot minute. Gorge new hair color, babe. Thank you so much. You guys are really gassing me up with the hair. Thank you. It means a lot. You're very nice. Yeah. Okay, so to give you context into what the last video was about, the last video Okay, where to start? So it changed title and thumbnail like so many times, and we're gonna get into that. The current title for that is fascism cool now? Um, I hate that title, but we're gonna get into that more in a second. That is also why this stream is called Is Fascism Cool Now? It is not, this stream is not specifically here to answer that question. This is one of my post video live streams. So the reason this stream is called that is because of the video essay I made by the same title. So there's a few different titles of this video originally. I more or less made this video essay because I saw the film Swing Kids and I really liked it. And I was like, I really want to make a video essay about this. I don't know if anybody else is interested in this topic, but I'm going to find a way to make people interested in this topic because it's something that I'm interested in. So there was kind of like there's two main topics of the video. One is discussing the film Swing Kids, which almost nobody has seen, and the other one is discussing Nicki Minaj's recent descent into fascism. And then there's we talk a little bit about the kind of historical origin of the word cool, where that word comes from. We talk about the kind of like jazz origins of that word. We talk about the kind of like that word's usage in terms of racist struggle and struggle against racism would be a better phrasing. And um, and we talk about swing dancing. So more or less, this video essay was an excuse for me to draw in these passions that I have and force people to watch it. And yeah, I don't know, like generally this was a kind of slightly rogue video essay and I feel it had a slightly rogue response. So we're going to get into the response. First things first, I want to talk a little bit about the marketing of this project because I had a really weird time putting the marketing together. As Joe just put into the chat, I still think Christian Bale as a Nazi would have killed for a title. Um, I did not know what to call this video. I well and truly did not. I'm gonna skip this song. This is a little bit too elevator music for me. Um, so I really struggled to market this video. We had so many like title ideas and so many things going through. And it's like, how do you take a video essay that's about Nicki Minaj and swing dancing and Nazi Germany and turn it into a cohesive project? So the original title for the video that I chose was, if I remember correctly, Swing Kids, Nicki Minaj, and Selling Out to Power. And that was a very kind of literal description of the thesis of the video. The video was discussing the kind of seductive nature of power. It was discussing the ways that power is really enticing. Power is, successful in part because you want it, because it sells you on it really, really well. And I think that this is something that is so heightened in modern capitalist society, and it was something that I wanted to really kind of focus in on. There's really obvious reasons why a person like Nicki Minaj would be really attracted to the current right-wing regime, and a lot of that is relatively economic. She got given a special kind of golden visa and was allowed to stay in the country, etc., etc. There seem to be financial motivations to this as well, and I wanted to discuss all of this. But the problem with YouTube is that when you give a direct and literal title to something, it doesn't tend to do very well. So the YouTube algorithm isn't a very big fan of literal marketing. I think that not a lot of people were super familiar with the film Swing Kids, and Generally, if you're just like, here's my thesis, here's what it is. And the thumbnail was one of the characters from Swing Kids being like, you're turning into a fucking Nazi, to the character who was turning into a fucking Nazi. And then the other one was Nicki Minaj being like, we're the cool kids. And it was very literal. It immediately bombed in the first like 48 hours. It was like one of my least viewed projects ever. So I did the thing that lots of content creators do these days. There's a tool where you can A/B test titles and thumbnails. So I threw a bunch of titles and thumbnails into the void rather randomly. It wasn't enormously thought out because uh like, I know this probably sounds kind of pathetic, but I was having a little bit of a meltdown. I am very affected when my projects don't do well. I am arguably way too affected, and it's something that I struggle with. But I was having a little bit of a spiral, and I was like, okay, so everyone hates this, everyone hates me, blah blah blah. And so I was just throwing titles and thumbnails out into the void, and the one that was most successful was is fascism cool now? The consequence of me going with this title was that people thought I was earnestly engaging with that question, as opposed to making kind of like a very nuanced video essay about a number of topics and trying to tie them all together in a hopefully engaging way. And what I noticed is that instead of like, a lot of the comments suddenly switched from being like engaging with the content of the video to being like, to just answering the question. So the video was doing a lot better, but it was attracting like a lot of people who thought that fascism was cool, which was like very stressful. It's probably like, I definitely get like a really wide range of comments on all my video essays. I definitely get a number of hate comments and negative comments on pretty much everything that I do, so I'm used to that. But there was something particularly jarring about people just like jumping on and being like, yes, fascism is so cool and I love it so much, and me just being like, oh my god, you are so in the wrong corner of the internet. Like, this has gone so poorly. Frog Theme, hello, welcome to the stream. It's off topic, but the hair and fit is giving Ramona flowers in the best way. Thank you. I definitely had a moment where I looked at myself in the mirror and saw the color blend, and I was like, it is a little bit Ramona flowers for sure. Yeah, wasn't my intention, but I'm not mad about it. And I love that diva. She's great. Cooked. Oh my god, truly. Hello, Witches Local 161. Hello. Thank you guys so much for all coming and hanging out with me tonight. I feel very self-indulgent yapping about this video. If there's something else you want me to talk about, just put it in the chat and we can go there instead. Joey Steph says, wearing the anarchy earrings just to drive home which side you're on. So one of the consequences of this video essay is that a lot of people were just like straight up Nazis, being like, commenting Nazi stuff, and I was like, oh no, I did not intend for this at all. And then there was a lot of leftists who were accusing me of being a neoliberal, of being someone kind of creating more or less like an indulgent academic piece that wasn't really seriously engaging with anything. There was one comment who accused me of being like a capitalist shill for the Democrat Party, which I thought was crazy. So here's the thing, right, with all of these comments, is that I know these people are not watching the live stream right now. Like, I know they're not here. Are you here? Make yourself known. I want to talk to you. I also know that like, I as a person can be very defensive, especially when it comes to like an academic thesis I was trying to communicate that people misunderstood, because obviously it's stressful. As like a hardline leftist, when someone's like, oh, I can't stand this neoliberal Democrat girl, it actually like makes me so anxious, because I'm like, I have been so utterly misunderstood. And it's stressful. So anyway, So that stressed me out. And yeah, part of the reason I'm wearing these earrings today is I'm like, let it be known where my politics lie. I do think, to be fair, you know, these are people who might be new to my channel. And if you're new to my channel, I can see how the last video essay could come across slightly more like liberal leftist as opposed to far leftist. But if you watch my videos, most of them are like just straight up communist propaganda. So I'm just like, it's crazy to like look at all my video essays, which are basically all commie propaganda, and to be like neolib. I'm just like, girl, do you even watch the show, Tamar? Anyway, so if you are curious about my politics, I more or less identify as a libertarian socialist and anarcho-communist. So that tends to be the philosophy that makes the most sense to me. But um yeah, I've kind of adopted that position years ago and I haven't examined it for a long time. So maybe I don't know, maybe I should examine it more, but that's the way it is for right now. Um yes. Sorry, just reading through the chat. I will always be going through reading through everything. So yeah, if there's anything that you want me to respond to, just let me know. There's definitely moments where I will read your message, completely forget it, and so you have full permission to double post at any time. Super duper down for that. Does not bother me at all. So um not Mars and Clinton. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm definitely like running for president someday, Democrat ticket, centrist, neoliberal. I actually love the thought of running for office someday in like a full, like obviously like as a socialist, but I think I would struggle to get into office for a few different reasons, which are presumably very obvious. Um So yeah, would have to delete certain websites, would have to like probably change my whole aesthetic, would have to detransition. No, I don't know. I'm sure, you know, whatever. Anyway. Um Live a Lot says the way I'm teaching a class right now on commie propaganda should fully just show your clips in class. Oh my god, I would be so flattered. Um no, Live a Lot. I was just making a joke. I'm actually cis. Yeah, I was just joking. Totally just like a crazy, like funny joke. Just one of those girls who pretends to be trans for views. Um, can you imagine? Can you imagine? I hate those. I hate those girls so much. Anyway, that's not what this stream is about. um, I actually, this is so random, but I actually, my videos are in a curriculum course in San Francisco. There was a teacher who emailed me like a couple years ago and she was like, hey, I feel really awkward about this, but one of your videos is part of my curriculum. I've downloaded it and I use it in my class. And she was like, but I feel a bit awkward because it's actually a video from your channel before you transitioned. And she was like, I don't want you to feel comfortable. I'm just wondering if I have your permission to keep this in my curriculum. And I thought it was so nice of her to ask. I really appreciated it. But yeah, I was like, you know what? Go for it. I'm not gonna see these students. I'm not gonna see this video. Um, you know, like it's fine. So yeah, I wanted to I like wonder what the class is like because that's crazy. I'm like, what is going on with that? Narcissa says she's my mother. Actually, it's true. Thank you for being here, daughter. Anyway, I don't even know what we were talking about. People thought that I was a neolib from the last video. It was so jarring. I had one person comment like, love this video essay, it's brilliant. And then comment like, oh, I hadn't finished it. Turns out you're a Democrat shill, like neolib centrist piece of shit. And I was like, what? Um, but yeah, again, if you haven't seen all the commie propaganda that I make, I guess I can kind of like, I can get it a little bit, I guess. So yes, um, I am not in fact a neoliberal. I think that I need fellow people on the far left to understand that you can critique the Trump administration and not be a Democrat and not be a centrist. Like, it's not a centrist position to critique Trump. And I think some people watched this video essay, which was very, very negative about Trumpism, and they interpreted that as me being like pro the Democrat Party and being kind of um, like, and it's like, not all praxis, not all leftist activism is, you know, um, reading Marx and full on socialist organizing. Like, combating capitalism is far left organizing, combating a fascist regime is far left organizing. The Trump regime is fascistic. It is absolutely praxis to combat the Trump regime. Um, so anyway, this video essay was definitely not on the more like far left in terms of theory that a lot of like compared to a lot of other stuff that I've made, but a lot of the focus of it was kind of more around yeah, critiquing the Trump regime, and that's okay. It's okay to do that. It's actually fine. Um but yeah. Anyway, um there was something else I was going to say, but I forget. Um yeah. Live a Lot says, girl, I have so many thoughts and trans stuff to share with you at some point. I've started to have proper physical results, etc. And oh my lord, I thought I understood misogyny and casual workplace sexism before, but the way a lot of male staff are treating me now, good lord. Oh girl, I mean, I don't know whether to like, I guess I'm sorry. Like, I don't know how this is for you, but sometimes experiences of misogyny are like validating in a really problematic way. I'm like, oh, so you do see me as a woman, but I'm also like, can you not be a piece of shit about it? But yeah, I'm so sorry. This was actually on my notes, something that I wanted to discuss in this live stream. So um yeah, so one thing that I've noticed since I've started making YouTube videos as a woman is that I also experience way more misogyny and sexism in the comment section of my videos. So, and I made a video essay about this. I don't want to like repeat myself too much, but I tend to get a lot of people questioning my intellectual authority. I tend to get a lot more comments on my appearance, and people are just weird about the arguments that I make. So one example of that in the last video essay is that I make the claim, or at the very least, I discuss throughout the video essay how part of the attractiveness of power to an increasingly conservative male voter base is the fact that patriarchy is, you know, entrenched in power, and that power is attractive to male voters. And I was talking about this through the lens of a character in Swing Kids who slowly gets seduced by Nazism. So this character starts out being very, very anti-Nazism. He literally physically fights Nazis. I'm literally reading the script in my video right now. It's fine. But the context is important. And yeah, eventually he becomes a full-on Nazi. And in the video, I'm talking about how, you know, from my perspective, one of the very obvious reasons that he became a Nazi is because Nazism is a patriarchal force, right? Like, Nazism is particularly attractive to men because it tells them that specifically white men are superior above all else. And one of the responses I got, and we're not talking about one comment, we're talking about a consistent response on this video, was people being like, more or less like, oh, yet another woman just saying that basically men are the problem. I couldn't keep watching. Like, I had a couple people be like, I couldn't even finish this video essay once you just blamed men. And there was kind of two ways in which this argument was presented to me. One was basically like people being like, oh, it's super dumb of you to just say that like kind of that men fascism is maleness, basically. They're like, super dumb of you to say this. And then there was a bunch of people also saying, super dumb of you to say that queerness like is or sorry, that heterosexuality is connected with kind of fascism. And they were responding to this specifically through like the argument that I was making is that being a heterosexual white cis male puts you at the top of the hierarchy of Nazi ideology, of fascist ideology. Um, and lots of people were like, oh, this woke bitch, like this woke person with this woke argument. But that's just the truth. Like, that's a historical fact, right? Like, Nazism absolutely put that group above all else. That was the ideal. The ideal of Nazism was to be male, to be cisgender, to be heterosexual, um, and to be white. And that's just a historical fact. And so there's so many people who were making these comments about basically, and then there was a lot of comments about my appearance. So there's lots of people saying like more or less just deeply misogynistic things about how I looked, but also like some things that were more about me being alternative. So there's a lot of people being like, oh, like I just can't take people who look like this seriously. And yeah, like one or two transphobic comments, but it definitely felt like the energy was predominantly centered around my alternative expression and the fact that I'm a woman more than anything else. It was like women complaining about men, you know, queer people complaining about straight people, and weird looking alt woke people trying to, you know, kind of shove leftism down everyone's throats or whatever. I don't know. I strongly considered for this live stream showing the comments themselves, but you can go find them if you like am worried I'm making any of this up or whatever. But I just kind of like, some of them are really mean, and it was like I didn't really want to like focus in on them too much. I wanted to use them as a bouncing board to discuss my own kind of ideas and arguments, but I didn't want to give them too much power and too much screen time. But yeah, they're there, they're on the video. I haven't deleted any of them. Um, so people brought up the fact that like queer people can be fascist, that gay Nazis existed, and I believe there is one in particular who was historically very prominent in the Nazi regime. And Narcissa says, I can't take people who don't look like you seriously most of the time. Firstly, thank you. Secondly, same. I like the space I have these days for like non-queer people and men is so limited. Which is challenging because the vast majority of my audience are men. And I feel the need to say I don't hate men. I love that men watch my videos. Please continue to watch my videos and engage with me. Like, I absolutely love that. But when you have I think I have like an 80% male audience, and then I want to make a video essay talking about feminism, I want people to be like respectful about that and have time for it and show up for it. And I've noticed sometimes when I make gendered-based arguments, including gendered-based arguments, which are literally just historical commentary, which are just historically accurate, to say that fascist movements are pro-patriarchy or pro-male, at least the vast majority of the time historically, this is just an accurate statement, right? And I need my male audience to have a little space for that. Like, there's a lot of fragility there, which I find really challenging. Karatech, thank you so much. Rom, yes. Yiannopoulos, yeah, absolutely. I made a whole video essay about Yiannopoulos. Yes, Rom is who I was talking about. Yeah, so people brought up the fact that queer fascists exist, that there was a gay Nazi, you know, a gay Nazi, whatever. So, and there was one comment that was basically like, your entire argument is invalid because some queer fascists exist. And it's like, yes, there are people where the leopards ate their face, who voted for the leopards face eating party. Like, yes, they absolutely exist. There are absolutely queer fascists in the world. There have been prominent queer fascists historically. But for me to say that Nazi ideology specifically values the white cis heterosexual male is again just a historically accurate statement. Just because gay Nazis existed does not make that argument not true. So I found this just incredibly frustrating. I felt there was a lot of bad faith engagement with the kind of story that I was telling. And yeah, I found that frustrating. I find it so infuriating that people will look at the fact that I have colored hair and just tune out. It's very frustrating to me that as a woman, and as specifically as an alternative woman, people devalue my intellectual authority purely on the basis of those aesthetics. It's incredibly superficial. It's very, very shallow, and it's just to me it just undermines your own position if you're not willing to engage with the intellectual authority of people who look different to how you want people to look, or look different to the people that you're used to seeing. Then boo, yeah, basically. There's so much, like, I have so many feelings about like the way that the aesthetic of wokeism has really kind of dominated politics. And I truly feel that so many people will just completely dismiss you if you look woke. There's this idea of the right wing has done a really good job with this, and it just makes me want to look more woke, to double down on the wokeness. So sometimes I think about ditching the colored hair when I'm just like really, really exhausted of the maintenance. But if I ever do, please know that I'm not starting to go through my conservative influencer pipeline era. It's actually just me being lazy, I promise. Yeah. um, Livelot says, I'm definitely guilty of the validation when I notice someone objectifying me or being misogynistic. We love trans inclusive radical misogyny. We love it. Yeah, I unfortunately relate a little bit. Yeah, which is a shame. Um, yeah, I think it's a kind of vulnerability that we have as trans women. But anyway, okay, let me go through my notes. I put down some notes for this live stream. There were some other things. Blah blah something something woke. Yeah, there was this whole thing where people were like, no colored hair equals Mars and hetero theory. My new branding, my new yeah. If you ever see me post anything right wing ever on the internet, like, just know it's under duress. Um, Maybe I'm in such severe debt and my life depends on the grifting. But if I ever went into grifting, I would be like so incredibly obnoxiously obvious about it. But then again, so many of the grifters, like, it would be like a let me get this paycheck. No, this is very much a joke. I feel the need to say I would never do that. Marjorie Taylor Greene, oh my god, we love Marjorie. Can we talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene being based? Because obviously, like, don't get me wrong, she's evil and she's still evil, but that moment where she did her whole like departure from the Trumposphere, and she was like, yeah, I hate all of these guys, like, they're horrible. One thing that I wanted to talk about, I'm very intrigued by women, like specifically alt-right, far-right, conservative women getting pushed out of conservatism. And one thing that was originally in my script notes that I was going to talk about in the last video is sorry. I just got a text from my boyfriend saying that that he saw a mouse by my door. Did anybody else just see a mouse by my door? We're having a mouse problem in this house. It'd be really iconic if the little guy made a live stream appearance. Baby, I need you to get on the tube and come back here right now. Oh my god, live a lot, don't do that. Are you guys trolling me? Am I being pranked? Anyway, Let me just pretend nothing is happening. Let me just pretend. If it happens, if you see it again, let me know. Not this happening live on stream. She ran across towards the dresser. Oh, great. Excellent. Um, okay, well, that's stressful. I'm glad you guys were all here to watch this mouse just troll around in the background of my live stream. She's like, I want that airtime. And she's like, let me be seen. It's my turn because the mouse was like absolutely terrorizing my flatmate but wasn't coming into my room. So this is the very first time that she's come into my room. So I feel like I fear it was my turn for this. Maybe a rat I fear. If she's I listen, I love rats. I don't know about feral and wild rats, but I do love rats. So if it is, maybe I can like become her friend. Wasn't that a wombat? Oh my god. You guys. Okay. Oh my god, Doom Noodle is here. Hi. Sorry, I meant to say hello to you earlier and there was this whole mouse incident. Kind of iconic, honestly. A little bit iconic. Yeah, no, it's we saw this girly last night, I think, or the night before, and yeah, we got rid of the last one humanely, and this one is either the same one again or it's a new one, so that's fun and exciting. Need a cat. No, seriously, I really want a cat. Um Doom Noodle says, I'm glad at least some right-wing folk draw the line at PDF files. No, but like it's so stressful because I feel that when it's they're so happy to accuse trans people like myself just existing of being PDF files. And then the moment that it affects them, like the moment that they are victims of deep faking, you know, like so one of the things what I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by Miss Little Mouse over here is that one of the things in my script notes for the video, one of the things I originally wanted to talk about was the conversion of Ashley St. Clair. So if you're not familiar, Ashley St. Clair was a super prominent conservative influencer promoting all of the kind of stuff that you expect from that sort of may we say grift. She released an anti-trans book. She was very prominent in that sphere. She had a child with Elon Musk. You know, and anyway, Grok, Twitter's AI, started to create sexualized images of her as images from when she was a minor. And this sort of led her on this journey to de-radicalization from the right-wing sphere. And she is now saying that she like regrets a lot of it. She's taken her name off the book, and she's also like tweeted pro-trans things, and clearly does seem to want to make amends, and you know, complicated feelings as always when somebody who has done so much damage leaves that community. However, I personally am always glad to see it. I'm always thrilled when someone leaves that world. I was raised very, very conservative and very, very religious myself, and while I was never really super duper like in that whole thing, like I was always a little bit like, this feels wrong, but mom and dad are have said it's the way type of thing. I still, because of that background, I feel have a lot of empathy for people who are, you know, tricked or seduced or genuinely believe it, but then later on regret it or leave it. So anyway, um, all that to say, I was considering doing a deep dive into her because there's a lot of focus on someone like Nicki Minaj being, you know, quote unquote, a political convert, which I don't really think is a very fair framing. I don't really think there's a lot of evidence that she was ever a leftist or that she was ever particularly left wing, as I talk about in the video. I won't repeat myself. But just whenever people want to say, like, look at this person kind of joining the sensible right wing, I'm always keen to look at a case of someone who has left the absolutely insane and destructive and horrible right wing. But yeah, anyway, um, as you say, Doom Noodle, it's good that some right-wing people do draw that line, but it's also really frustrating that that line is a little bit conditional, that they're happy to go with the narrative that all queer people are predators, but are only willing to really kind of have a critical point of view on things when they're personally affected by things as well. So gotta love it. um this is very elevator music. I hope it's fine. I can put something else on if people want. Livala says, have you seen that thing of the mouse that ended up inside someone's... So Livala, I haven't seen that, and that's insane. Yeah. Not you making me read that out live on stream. That's crazy. That's wild. Maybe that's gonna be... Never mind. Just let me just stop talking about this live on stream. Okay. Samantha says, I met the cutest, most beautiful rescue kitty at the pet supply store yesterday and just inwardly curled up in a ball because I couldn't take her home. That's so sad. That's always the worst. I am a big fan of cats, but I'm not currently allowed to have one, sadly. I met the cutest, most adorable cat when I was back home in California a like week or two ago, and I fell so deeply in love with him, and I was very sad I couldn't take him home. And he lives on the farm that my grandma lives on, and my sister told me that he's been just like sitting on the porch on my grandma's house waiting for me and my boyfriend to come and cuddle him, and we're not gonna come back, at least not for a long time. And it's really sad. Yeah. I read the statistic that 90% of cats are male. Wait, is that true? Because that's crazy. I'd bring a cat home in a heartbeat if I thought for a second that I could afford to look after her. Yeah, that is the thing that's really tricky, is that you have to be willing to make that investment. And I really value my free time and the ability to travel, and I think that I would have a hard time with that, but yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I'd written in my notes for today's stream. I have this one note that's like not really fleshed out, but a lot of the video essays focusing on Turning Point USA and their conference with Nicki Minaj and Erica Kirk. That's her name, right? And one of the things I wanted to talk about is how different right-wing rhetoric is externally versus internally. So when they're putting on a conference and they're, doing publicity and they're filming it, their rhetoric tends to be really vibes-based stuff. So they tend to say stuff like, we will win, we're gonna beat the bad guys, we're the cool kids, let men be men, blah 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 blah. Extremely very vibes-based ideas. It doesn't really mean much, it makes you feel good, etc etc. And then when the right wing are doing communications internally, it tends to be much more aggressive and much more hostile. Here are the actions we need to take to remove rights from trans people. We need trans people to not exist anymore, etc etc. Really really horrible, really scary, really awful stuff. It was one of those themes. There's like this thing with Ashley Sinclair, and then that particular theme was basically me just being like, I haven't released a video in 4 months. I need to get something out there as soon as possible. So I just didn't quite get it into the script. I sort of kind of more or less ran out of time. But I thought I would share those little tidbits here since I didn't get a chance to mention them in the video. But yeah. I don't know if anybody here even watched that video, but hopefully you enjoyed me rambling about it. That is everything that I wanted to say about the video. So at this point, if there is anything that you want to ask me, if there are any topics you'd like me to discuss, this was the plan for today. I went through my notes faster than I thought I would. So yeah, I'm down to hang out. Is there anything? I don't know if you guys have any questions for me or anything you want to talk about. If not, I'm gonna go like enter Mortal Kombat with this mouse over here. And we're not live streaming that. So, Doom Noodles Kitty is a girly, 16 years old and still kicking. Cute. Proof that girl cats do exist. um, Livala says news. I spent 3 months living with my boyfriend and his cat at the tail end of last year. And like his cat got so used to me being there every single day. Now he's like heartbroken. That's so sad. Also, congratulations on the boyfriend. That's awesome. We love to hear it. Joe says my cat gets sad when Marceline is gone. If I put the stream on the TV, he sits and watches her. Wait, that's actually so cute. I didn't know that. Or should we just cry on stream? I love Jafar so much. He's such a little cutie pie. Which is local says catchphrase politics. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. Basically, the last hour of this stream was just that catchphrase politics. I hope at least some of me yapping about all of the random stuff in my brain was entertaining to you guys. Doom Noodle says, don't hurt the mouse, please. I truly, the Mortal Kombat thing was a joke. I do not believe in harming animals in general, no matter how small or what, even, or especially the animals that are classified as pests. Actually a huge fan of rodents, and I had a pet rat as a kid who I miss eternally. So yeah, we have humane traps here in the house, so yeah, rest assured we will not be hurting the girly. Yeah, thank you for following the stream, which is local. Appreciate the follow. Does anybody have any weekend plans? Are we up to anything? How are our lives? What's going on? Samantha redeemed hydration. Fine, I'll hydrate myself if you insist. Samantha says, not to diminish the fact that this has been fascinating, but you could probably read the dictionary out loud and it would be interesting. I am very flattered. However, if someone doesn't ask me a question soon, I'm gonna have a panic attack. No, I'm just kidding. But also, I really like live streaming, but when you're very much not famous like me, and you have to be fully engaging and you don't know what to talk about, it's stressful, and I get awkward. I get awkward really fast. And yeah, I probably could have done a better job. I need to do a better job with live streams of coming up with stuff to do. Like I could have more things that I react to and more things that I like more notes of things that I talk about, but I'm always kind of like unsure about how much I'm like space that I should have to just hang out and chat and answer questions and talk about random stuff, and how much I should be focusing, how much I should be more or less like political commentating, or how much I'm supposed to be like, because I don't know. I can absolutely do a stream where I just like yap for the whole stream, but if people don't tell me that they find it interesting, I'll get really insecure about it. It's different than with my videos, because with my videos, I don't have to be there for it. You know what I mean? It's like I film it and I put it out there. It's like great, people like it or they hate it, whatever. But not whatever, like I will cry if people hate it. But when I'm live and I'm like talking about it and I'm like, I don't know if people are interested in this. It's like yeah, anyway. I'm not insecure. I've been through therapy. Anyway. Doom Noodle says, I love you even more. Thanks. We need more kindness in the world, not just for humans. I agree so very much. And I'm a big animal person. Always have been. When I was a kid, I really wanted to be like, when people would ask me what you want to be when you grow up, I had like a couple years, so I would say that I wanted to be a vet because I was just really obsessed with animals. And my bed was like covered with stuffed animals. Um, and Yeah, that was like the dream for a little while, and then I wanted to be an author for a long time. I still love the thought of being an author, but like when I was a little kid, I specifically wanted to be like a fantasy author, which I love the idea of, but I think I have other passions that are just as high or like if not more high now. Um Samantha says just dog sitting for the boyfriend and making food and stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous that your boyfriend has a dog. My boyfriend is probably more jealous that your boyfriend has a dog because he really loves dogs. That sounds really nice. It sounds like a nice weekend. Also, still doing post-op maintenance. Valid. That makes sense. Um, um, Samantha says, okay, so how did you go so long without having seen Swing Kids? Firstly, thank you so much for the question. um, I don't know is the answer. No, I do know. So, I mean, I grew up without TV or radio or popular music, so I had a very limited cultural osmosis. Not osmosis, whatever. I don't know. I didn't absorb a lot of culture growing up, like almost none. And this is probably so boring to everyone here who knows this because I do bring this up a lot. But yeah, I didn't know who the Beatles were when I moved to the UK. Had no idea who Beyonce or Lady Gaga were or um, any famous artists. And the same thing with films. I hadn't really seen any films. So um my boyfriend Joe, who's here in the chat tonight, shout out to Joe. Um he has been throughout our relationship truly like in the trenches trying to educate me on stuff, and so he showcases a lot of um he shows me a lot of media that I never got to see as a kid. um so one day he was like, I really want to show you this film. I think you'll love it. It's called Swing Kids. And sometimes when he wants to show me something that's old, because I'm like so Gen Z, I'm like, um, I don't want to watch something that's old. Like, and just like telling on myself once again. But I'm so glad I did watch it because I loved it. I thought it was fantastic and amazing. Really, really enjoyed it. Obviously, wrote a whole video essay about it. Probably one of the most self-indulgent video essays I've ever did because I was like, I have no evidence that anybody cares about this. Um, and I also just really, really, really love swing dancing. So it was like the most perfect film for me. Um, like a film that's like a historical political commentary film about like with a heavy focus on like radical swing dancers. I'm like, are you kidding me? This film was made for me. And I've been swing dancing for many years in London. It's one of my favorite hobbies in the whole world. And I specifically do Lindy Hop, which is the type of dancing that was really, really popular during the era of Nazism. And yeah, so Lindy Hop, I don't know if anyone here knows anything about swing dancing, but basically Lindy Hop is the original form of dancing in the early 1900s. That it's the type of dancing you see in swing kids, and it's not a lot of people have heard of Lindy Hop because it is so old, but it's the type of dance that all the modern dances come out of when it comes to a lot of partner dancing. So rock and roll comes out of out of Lindy Hop. East Coast, West Coast, I mean East Coast basically is rock and roll, but all of these kind of other forms of dance have all come out of Lindy Hop, and Lindy Hop is the original, and I cannot recommend it enough, by the way. And yeah, anyway, it's one of my favorite things. There's a really big scene here in London, which is really cool. um yeah. Narcissa says, question, have you managed to trick anyone that the hairline surgery scar was from a lobotomy? I remember you said that you were hoping to do that one day. I make jokes about it a lot. I don't think I've actually genuinely tricked people. I definitely will tell people, I'll be like, see the scar on my forehead? Like, it's from a lobotomy. And they're like, haha, like, so, unfortunately, I don't think I've been very successful with that one, but I definitely have fun with it. It's very silly, very stupid. Um, yeah. Joe says, no one I know has seen Swing Kids. It was a teen bonding moment when my mom showed me she is a swing dancer. It was so crazy when I met this guy whose mom was a swing dancer. I was like, literally, what are the odds? Because you don't really meet people very often who swing dance. But yeah, I knew making the video essay that not a lot of people had seen it, and I was a bit worried that was going to affect the views. But I was kind of surprised how many people commented, "Oh my God, I love this movie. I'm so glad you made a video about it." So definitely there were some people. I would still say that most people were like, "What the fuck is this?" Um, Doom Noodle says, if you haven't yet, you should watch V for Vendetta. Excellent movie. I've heard very good things and I would love to. Yeah, it's definitely been one of those ones on like my peripheral is like, oh, I should really watch this. But yeah, I have never seen it yet. Joe says I introduced her to The Simpsons on our first date. Not to start talking about our relationship on stream, but yes, yes, he did. Karatek says it's okay to miss out. I absolutely agree. I sometimes feel, if anything, kind of grateful I missed out because there's aspects of popular culture, mainstream culture that I'm not the biggest fan of. I sound like such a fucking hipster. Um, I'm like so interesting because I've like never seen films. I saw a meme about that once and I was like, oh, this is so targeted at me specifically. But as in, I don't know. I don't really know what I mean. Just sometimes I'm like, I didn't get any of it, and that's fine. One thing I really like is I like being able to discover things and appreciate things without the context of nostalgia. A lot of modern culture is regurgitations of older culture, and it's nice for me when like something comes out, like a new Star Wars film or something, and I can just be like, this is totally new for me. I just get to unironically enjoy this. I don't have to compare it to anything. And I've noticed I enjoy a lot of films that other people don't because they have nostalgia, they have reference. And similarly with music, a lot of times I'm like, okay, well, this is totally new for me, which makes my perspective on it different. And then likewise, this is gonna sound so like hipster and like pretentious, but I do sometimes think that people enjoy things that only for the nostalgia, which I also don't have. So it's also like if I'm listening to a song and people are like, but you don't get it. It was like really cool in this or that time. And I'm like, I don't get it because I didn't hear it then and I'm hearing it now and I don't like it or I don't think it's good. So I don't have the like arbitrary appreciation of something purely based on the role it had in my life or whatever. But that's honestly that I'm hearing myself and I'm like, that sounds really kind of judgy, but yeah, that's my totally like I've taken this childhood and I'm like I I might as well feel better about it for because like it happened to me. So like let me romanticize it as something yeah. Anyway, um don't listen to me. Me live streaming. Don't listen to me. Ignore me. Samantha says true, the sheltered, i.e. culturally deprived life is real, been there too, to a degree. You could do a video about it in the context of Christofascism. That is a really great idea. I should definitely do that. Yeah, I would love to do that. I feel like I have a very vague understanding of what that term means, as in like Christofascism is kind of like referring to just like Christian fascism, right? Like specifically the like American evangelical um kind of right wing as far as I understand. I don't know, but yeah, it's something I would love to do a video about and something that I can definitely speak on from personal experience, which is helpful. Um yeah. Samantha says, I don't know this from experience, but shout out to Joey for being an awesome boyfriend on multiple levels. Can confirm he is an awesome boyfriend. Not to be super lame live on stream. But yeah. Oh my god, that's right. So one of the other films he had me watch recently was Starship Troopers. And it was another one where like my like Gen Z ass goes into it being like, this looks so old. I don't want to watch an old film. And I loved it. It's like truly one of my favorite films I've seen. I thought it was fantastic and I really want to make a video essay about it. But we'll see. I have a couple a couple scripts in the works right now, and I do need to kind of like manage my time, and I need to also focus in. Like I need to get something done. I need to, because I will do the ADHD thing where I will have like 500 scripts going on at once, and then I won't finish any of them. So I do need to like, it has also now I think been a month since the last video released. This live stream is a little bit delayed. I really usually like to do these live streams like a week or two after I publish a video, and in this case I'm doing it obviously like ages later, but life happened. I went back to America for 2 weeks, and that's just what happened. So we're doing the live stream now, and yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. um but I am aware that it has now been a month since a video, and I'm trying to release content more often than I used to, because I used to do a video essay every 4 months. So I'm trying now to do slightly shorter videos that I release more often, and that's currently what we're kind of like working towards. I have mixed feelings about it because I really like doing the super duper uber long ones, but the last one didn't do very good, so I'm just like trying to manage my my energy because there's so much work. Anyway, Kiko Burp says, hi, hello, I missed an hour of the stream. You did, you missed out. We talked about some juicy stuff as well. Kiko, it is so nice to see you now. As they say, better late than never. Very happy to have you here. How are you doing tonight? You missed a mouse, like a whole ass real physical live mouse running across the background. I'm gonna leave the stream and like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to figure something out. Anyway. She just been babbling about the video and politics and that. I've just been yapping about the last video, which I don't even know if anyone here has seen or even remembers because it was a month ago. But anyway, thank you for just hanging out for me yapping. Appreciate it. Kiko says, I sure hope she's been apolitical and non-controversial. As always, Kiko, you know it. Also love the hair marks. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, Ramona Roanna Ortiz. Welcome to the stream tonight. Wait, is that the name of Ramona Flowers or is that something different? Anyway, potatoes. So true. So true. Yeah, you really said that. You said that. Yeah, you ate with that. Christian Science is an example of Christo-fascism. Also, maybe the things that made Franco's very Catholic fascism was unique. Ooh, okay, interesting. Yeah. Definitely something I need to do some research on because I have an understanding of my experience, my evangelical upbringing, but I definitely would need to take some time to understand it generally, and like historically and politically. Gabriel, hello Gabriel. Gabriel says, oh no, I feel you so much though. I feel like I've also become kind of anti-nostalgia, but I've never seen anyone actually say that they feel that way. And I'm glad that you get what I'm putting down because I said that and I was like, I don't know how this sounds or how this is being perceived. I don't want to come across as just like a super duper judgy person. But yeah, I think I have gripes with nostalgia as a kind of cultural artifact, without necessarily judging anybody personally for it. And I certainly have things that I am nostalgic about. But yeah, just the role that it plays in how media is interpreted, in how cultural events take place and happen. I feel like I have a very outsider perspective to most of culture, and like that's just the product of having been like fucking homeschooled and shit, it just is what it is, right? It has positives and negatives. There's so many times when it's also very, very isolating and very lonely. There's so many times where I don't understand what's going on in a social situation where people are making jokes or talking about pieces of media where the consumption of that media was just presumed. It's like, well, yeah, everybody has seen this, and it's like, well, not everybody, because I haven't, and that can feel very, very isolating, and nobody understands. But no, I then also don't want that to then lead to me just being super judgmental for no reason. Um, yeah. Narcissa says, I saw Nazis unironically love Starship Troopers and deny that it's satire. I've heard about this and it's something I want to talk about. It's one of the reasons I want to make a video essay about it is I want to talk about that because that's insane. That's so crazy. But it's so much of right-wing media consumption is consuming the piece of media and not getting it at all. I mean, there's so many things we can talk about. Star Wars as an example. There's so many things we can talk about where it's like the media is so obviously created to make fun of you or to critique the dangers of your ideology, and you watch it like explosion go boom, and it's like we need critical thinking as soon as absolutely possible. Oh my god, yeah, exactly what Joe said. It's like when they realize that they are the Empire in Star Wars, literally. Um, uh, one of the examples of this, maybe this should be a video essay. All the times right wing people don't get that it's about them. I feel like someone's probably already made that. I don't know. I'm gonna write it down in my notes after this stream. But another example of that is The Boys. Like The Boys, the TV show The Boys on Amazon had a lot of popularity in the right wing conservative and masculine circles. And around season 3, maybe season 4, people started to really realize, oh, this euphoria meme moment, is this fucking show about us? They started to realize that it is about right wing people and it's very, very negative about conservatism, and it's not subtle about it at all. Um, and I find that so intriguing because, yeah, it's something I clocked from the first season. And yeah, it's just something that I should definitely stop talking about now and start writing down for a script. Um, yes. Cool. Um, all right, sweet, beautiful, lovely humans. I am. Oh my God, Narcissa sent me a screenshot of the mouse in the bag. Wait, let me look at this. I am so down to keep hanging out. But oh my God, it's a little Tom and Jerry edit. That was good. You guys can't see it. Okay. Well, anyway, that was funny. I enjoyed that. Well done. Well played. Um, I'm gonna scroll back through when I finish this stream and I'm gonna see if I can see it. I mean, I guess I will be able to see it because you guys saw it. Crazy business tonight. Um, I'm super down to keep hanging out with you guys. But um, basically, if you have anything that you want to talk about or if you have any questions, this is the time to do it because I may choose to start winding things down. This feels like a thread. Ask me questions or I'm leaving. But no, it's just like I don't know what to talk about and I feel awkward. So yeah, if there's anything you want to chat about, if there's any questions, if there's anything about the last video or about past videos, about anything in general, about life, about politics, let me know. No pressure, obviously. It has been such a delight hanging out with you guys tonight. It's been really, really nice. I've had a really good time. I will just hang around for a little bit if there's anything that you'd like to say or any questions. And if you want to get me yapping again, we can hang out here for a little bit longer. But if not, I might dip in a little bit. This is also the part in the live stream on Twitch where I start playing video games. If you're not familiar, I do stream on Twitch. I haven't been very regular in the past like 6 months. But last year I was regular for like the first 6 months of the year. And but yeah, I feel like that's not the vibe for this stream because this is a stream on YouTube. It's like a just chatting, hanging out stream. I'm always like on Twitch. I'm like, I will hang out and chat to people. And then if there's like not a lot of people in the chat, I will just like start playing League of Legends or something. And I don't really think I can do that with this stream. So if there's not a lot to talk about, I'ma just go. Okay, looking back at the chat here. Ramona asks, what are my Favorite foods. Okay, so I'm a very, 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 very savory girly. I'm not a very sweet girly. It is very hard to buy me candy or like sweet things, or I don't like cake. I would say the vast majority of sweet food, but I love savory food. I love olives. I love crisps. Basically, all of my favorite palette is like Mexican food. Basically, I'm from California, so I kind of grew up on Mexican food, and Mexican food often I feel like, has a really heavy focus on very salty, very savory dishes. I love anything that has pico de gallo and like I love tacos. One of my favorite. I love um any type of Mexican dish and then eating that with crisps. Like nachos are amazing specifically, but just like in general, if you have like an open taco burrito and some crisps, y'all are making me hungry now. Um, but yeah, like I love that shit so much. I was home in California for 2 weeks and I had so much Mexican food and it was so good and it's hard returning to London where there are one or two places with okay Mexican food, but most of the time, like I've been to a taco nights in London, they're like um just not Mexican at all. They're just like it's a taco but like by construction, but it's not like a Mexican taco, you know what I mean? Um so yeah. Samantha says, which older video was the one the teacher slash professor in San Francisco talked about? If you weren't here for that, I was talking about how I found out one of my videos is in a curriculum program in San Francisco. Um, okay, I'm almost certain it was one of my sex education videos. If you were not on the channel in the before days, i.e. before I transitioned, I had an entire YouTube channel. Actually, this it's the same YouTube channel, but all those videos have been deleted. And I had a channel where did a lot of sex education. For a while, that was like what I did. I did one or two video essays. I would call them more like video essays light. Um, and then I did a lot of like just queer content and then I transitioned and decided I only wanted to do video essays and that well actually obviously there's a few transition related content as well on there and nowadays it's only video essays. Anyway, that's just the context to say that I used to make sex education content, and I believe the video that is in the curriculum program is a video that I made about alternative labels used in discussions of sex. So I'm like, I can go into it, but I feel like it might not be appropriate for a live stream. It's very much just educational content, but yeah, I mean, I guess I will just very vaguely say what it was about, which is that it was about ways that you can take conventional terms in sexual dynamics and use different language, often specifically to subvert patriarchal norms, gender norms, to be more inclusive and when it comes to sexuality and gender. So taking a term like penetration, for example, and using a different term, maybe something that is less about the person penetrating and more about the person receiving, etc., etc. So yeah, it's just an interesting discussion about language, more or less. I won't go into more details because we're trying to stay monetized up in here. I might have already been demonetized. Sorry, hopefully not. Anyway, Tricky2917, firstly, hello, lovely to see you here. Says, you and dancing, what's the story there? So, I've always loved to dance. When it comes to, yeah, I've always been really into dancing, but when it comes to partner dancing specifically, so my sister was very, very briefly an East Coast swing dance teacher back in my hometown where I grew up in California. She taught me a little bit of East Coast swing partner dancing. I'm pretty sure I had the desire to learn before then, but I hadn't yet. I had always loved the idea of partner dancing. It's just always something I thought was so beautiful and so cool. And also, like, may I say, extremely romantic. And and at some point in my life, I I was dating someone and I was like, "Hey, I've always wanted to learn swing dancing. It's been like something I've done a tiny bit with my sister who's a teacher. It's like one of my favorite things in the world, but I just haven't properly learned it." And I was in France at the time. So we went to this, I'm literally giving you the full fucking story, like probably way more than you asked. But I went to this West Coast swing class in Nantes in France with my partner at the time. Uh, Me as speaking like A2 French at the time. My French has gotten a bit better since then, but at the time I was like, I can barely understand anything, and I'm like taking a dance class, and it was stressful. And I really liked West Coast swing dancing, but I had done East Coast, and I had done West Coast, and I realized that I um neither were necessarily my favorite. So then when I went back to London, I started learning Lindy Hop, which is what I did dance to in the last video. And what I danced, I mean. And Lindy Hop, I took a year of like really intensive courses. So I was going every single week and I was learning a few different styles of Lindy Hop. I learned Charleston, I learned Balboa, and predominantly I learned six step and a little bit of eight step Lindy Hop, and did that for a year, and then was going every single week, and yeah, was super duper regular. And the person I took all those classes with was actually my ex, little lore drop. The guy in the video, the last video that I released, is my ex. We're still very close, obviously. And we were dating and we were taking the classes together, and it was really really fun. Different ex to the guy I swung dance with in France. But yeah, anyway, so I really like swing dancing, obviously. Um and yeah, was doing it for years, and then I just kind of stopped for years, and then this video came up, and I really wanted to make this video, and I hadn't danced in a long time, and I was kind of like, should I include a little bit of me dancing in it since it's thematically relevant? And I was like, maybe let me just see if my ex is free, and he was free. And so it kind of came together, which was really fun. It felt a little bit like self-indulgent. Like I was a little bit anxious about people thinking that I was like, I don't know, like making it to show off, which I also think is kind of like, I am very much not the best Lindy Hop dancer out there at all. It would be crazy if I was making it to show off, because I'm simply not at a show off level. I would not be entering competitions anytime soon or anything like that. Um, but I was worried that people, I, I'm, I'm a massive overthinker, and I was like worried that people were going to think that I had like formed the academic content around the desire to just be like, hey, look at me dancing. But it was kind of fun that this hobby that I had, this passion that I had, happened to be really relevant to what was being discussed. I was really excited. Anyway, that was way longer than I feel it needed to be, but that's your answer. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah. Going through the chat now. Narcissa says, um, every time I see you, I remember that you were one of the biggest influences who helped me with my egg cracking and starting to accept myself, and I'll forever be thankful. That's really nice to hear, Narcissa, and yeah, congratulations. And I'm so 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 happy for you. Um, Matsy J says, could you explain your journey with exploring your gender? Years ago, I stumbled upon your early transition videos, and it gave me the courage back then to start my own transition. I am like a fantastic follow up from the last message. So happy for you both, and congratulations. Love to hear that. Um, Love to hear that I am a grooming menace. Um, okay, so all right, serious answer. My journey with exploring my gender. Okay, so I have talked about this a bit before, so apologies to those of you who have heard this story a million times. I'll try to kind of like do the spark notes, but Yeah, basically, I started my transition just because I wanted to take hormones. I was very much in the camp of somebody who really did not know what their gender was, did not know what they wanted out of a physical transition. All I knew was that I wanted to try hormones, and specifically, I wanted to try estrogen. I had no intention of blocking my testosterone for some time. So, I identified more or less as non binary, but I also made a whole video, which has been deleted now, about being a gender anarchist. And I kind of was very much like, all I really knew was that I wanted to be more feminine. For a while, I thought that I maybe wanted to be more of a femboy, and that I wanted to just have space to, yeah, express myself more femininely. And estrogen felt incredibly affirming and correct for me. There was a lot of alignment there. There was a lot of processing. I was also in therapy at the time. So I was processing this in therapy as well. At the time, I was also going through a breakup with the West Coast swing guy in France who did a number on me. Um, and I was processing so much stuff. There was a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions and a lot of just like, what the fuck is going on? And anyway, all I knew was that I was really enjoying being feminine. So for first year of transition, I was pretty confident in being somewhere in the like non-binary, genderqueer, NB space. And more or less identified as non-binary for years. I used the name Quinn for a long time, which is a really beautiful gender neutral name, which is now my middle name. I still really love that name. I took it as my middle name because it's like this part of me and part of my journey. But after I want to say 2 or 3 years into transition, I started to, probably more like 2 years, um, I started to occasionally pass as a woman. That was really complicated for me because there was a period of time where I didn't identify as a woman, but I was being perceived and treated as a woman. And I think I felt very complicated about it. And there was moments where that felt even uncomfortable for me. And I wasn't really sure what to do with that. And and honestly, I think like um I definitely had the journey of like realizing as the farther I got into femininity, the better that felt for me. So it was kind of I didn't have like an aha moment where I was like, I have always been a woman and that's fundamentally who I am. And I've been, kind of trapped in the wrong body. And I have this medical condition called dysphoria, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have that as like a moment. I had that as like a huge cascade of different moments, um, which happened very, very, very slowly. And I think what I realized was that just constantly, as I was expressing myself more femininely, was that that felt very much correct for me, um, and it just continued to feel correct, and it still continues to feel correct. So I just kept going with it. More or less, the decision to identify as a woman and kind of living my life now as a woman just sort of happened to me in many ways. I think I don't view it as like a necessarily like a really strong coming out moment or a really strong moment of realization. I It's odd talking about this now because I very much do identify as a woman now, and that feels like an integral part of who I am as a person and the way that I move through the world. And it makes a huge amount of sense to me. And I will absolutely like discuss my womanhood as this kind of like theme, I'll say as women as opposed to women this. I very much, yeah, see that as correct. But it wasn't something that there was a moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm a woman. It feels like something that um just happened as a natural process of transition for me. I don't know if that really makes a lot of sense. Um, I feel kind of it's a little difficult for me to describe. I think yeah. I honestly have not thought about transition very much for a long, for not a long time, but for a while now. There was a point where I felt a little over a year ago where I had quote unquote completed my transition. And what that means for me is not some sort of like transmedicalist goal. It's not some sort of like, you have to reach this point to be considered a woman, you know, because that's not what I believe. And that's not what I believed for myself personally. But it was more just a description of the fact that like I've done the things that I want to do. And I told myself from the very beginning that I didn't want gender to always be a really big part of my life. And that was more to do with almost just like time and energy. Like you get limited time as a human being. And I I just felt like for myself, I don't know how this is going to sound, but I felt like for myself, I wanted to do my transition as quickly as possible and get it done and then start living life. And I feel in many ways that's kind of what I've done. I did the transition, I got the surgeries I wanted to get, and I was like, cool, we did that. Great. And so for the past year, um, I've been kind of like, great, I don't want to think about gender anymore. Like, I did that. I did the gender thing. Now I want to just live my life. And so these days I don't think a lot about my relationship with gender or my relationship with my transition or where my transition is at. I kind of am like, uh, that happened. I'm so grateful for it. Really happy about it. And there are definitely moments where I'm processing it a lot more. But it's odd talking about it for me now, I think. Um, but because I mostly just because I'm like, I don't really I don't even know like when did I start identifying as a woman? Like I don't know when that happened. That just I don't know. But yeah. Um I don't want to just like settle into this like kind of mindset that a lot of cis het people have where they never think about these things. Like I like being aware of my relationship to my body and myself. But yeah, at the same time I'm also like, cool, we did that. Great. I am still like I still have moments where I think that there are certain things that I might like to do in terms of transition, but the vast majority of the time I think that's done. We did that. That's in the past now. I'm still receiving medical treatment for a post-op complication that I have, so I'm definitely still doing my gender is definitely still affecting me. My transition is definitely still affecting me in that way, but yeah, I also have medical trauma, and sometimes when I think about my transition, I have to think about that, and sometimes it's nice to just disassociate from it all as well. So anyway, and that's also not to say that it's incorrect to ask me questions about it. You are so very welcome to ask me questions about it. As you can see, I will just yap about it for ages. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. If you have any follow-up questions, let me know. And yeah, I feel like I kind of really got into it there, and I hope that was not like too much for everybody. Yeah, not insecure at all. Kiko Burr says, "Give us the full fucking story, or else I'll shoot you with my water gun." Kiko, I want you to know that I love you, and I appreciate the way that you talk in chat. I really do. Well, I think I did. I think I did give the full fucking story. I really do think I did. Yeah. Sometimes I forget about the fact that I have a majority American audience, and I hope my language does not offend you because I've definitely had comments about me being a bit offensive or being a bit adult in videos. And as someone who lives in London and we all just like curse like crazy over here, I sometimes forget that this is like a thing. Um, Joe says it was such a good dance in the video. You're very biased, but thank you. Um, um, Adeline Ferrant. I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly. Firstly, hello, welcome to the stream. I don't think I said hello to you yet. It says, quick question. Do you realize how impactful your long form video essays are? I can't imagine the amount of work that goes into it, but they're profound and field forming. How do you decide on subjects? Firstly, I'm very flattered by the description of profound and field forming. That feels very generous. Thank you so much. That's very kind. I've been in a bit of a rut of feeling a little bit disheartened, I think mostly just because I don't get a lot of views, but it's nice to hear that like regardless of how many views I do get, that that my videos do have an impact. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that's so kind. Sorry, I'm a little overwhelmed. Anyway, so I guess the answer to the first question is no, I guess not. How do I decide on subjects? So I was talking a little bit about this at the start of the stream, but um early on in making video essays, I picked my subjects based on what I was studying in school. So there's my first few really properly long form video essays were inspired off of essays that I wrote for school. So a lot of it was direct translation of what I had wrote and what I was studying, and then rewritten to try to be a bit more cohesive for to be presented in a video format. Um, so that's one of the ways that I found my subjects really early on. And that was really helpful for me because it was like, um, okay, the topic is like just the book that I'm reading for school. Do you know what I mean? And it happened to be things I was really excited to talk about um, on YouTube. So that helped. But yeah, I wasn't having to necessarily think about ideas for things I wanted to talk about. Um, so my fascism of common sense video was an essay. My abolition democracy video was an essay. My sex dreams video, that's going to sound really weird out of context, was an essay. And my video about the cast review and auto theory and transfeminism was my dissertation. Um, um, and after that I had to be a little bit more like, okay, what are we doing? So um the cosmic horror video was something I was wanting to do for a really long time. I knew I wanted to do. I just had this moment where I was like, I really want to do a video essay comparing Lovecraft and Studio Ghibli. That was like just this strong like thought in my head. And I was like, how the fuck am I going to make that into a video essay? Because nobody's going to want to watch that. The marketing of it is going to be impossible. How do you market Lovecraft versus Studio Ghibli? And one of the first thumbnails actually literally was um Lovecraft versus Studio Ghibli, and it did not do very well. So we had to get rid of that one. Anyway, so that was like, oh, I think. Okay, no, I do know how that came to me. So I got bottom surgery and I was camera refresh. I was watching all the Studio Ghibli films while I was recovering from bottom surgery. And then I was also listening to Lovecraft stories being read on podcasts while I was dilating. So I was going through a moment where I was like absorbing so much Studio Ghibli and so much Lovecraft. And I was like, I've got to compare and contrast these two. Um, and then the We Happy Few video, I was recommended The Promise of Happiness, the book that video essay is based on, by my dissertation supervisor. She was like, you like auto theory. I really think you would like this book. And I was like, sure, I'll read it. And I read it and I was like underlining every single thing in the book. And I was like, oh my God, this is like one of my favorite books I've ever read. And it is forever something that I will be a little bit sad about, that is my least successful video essay, because it's like one of my favorite ones. And I just really, really loved the book and the theory from that. But that's okay. And that's fine. And yeah, the Swing Kids video essay, obviously not one of my longer, not one of my long form ones, but that was like me panicking about having not made a video for a long time, me knowing that I wanted to make something a little bit shorter because of working so much and just not having time, more or less, and struggling with money. Just constantly my barrier. It's like all I want to do in life is make the long video essays. I don't make a lot of money from them, and so I have to work several other jobs, and I just struggle to, yeah, I struggle to afford the time, basically. And yeah, shameless plug, if you are here and you have $1 to spare, literally $1 a month, if 1% of my following gave me $1 a month, I would be able to make so much more content and stuff. So yeah, anyway, no pressure, obviously. Sidetracked. So yeah, I think that's all the video essays recently, and yeah, where the inspos come from. Watching Swing Kids. Yeah. I'm trying to do more like I I've sometimes when I just really want to talk about a certain aspect of philosophy, like with the fascism of happiness, it doesn't do very well. So what I'm trying to do is learn from other video essayists and do more media analysis combined with philosophy. And it doesn't come as naturally to me. I really like the solidly, purely academic videos, but I've noticed that what the things that people are building careers off of tend to be, you know, analyzing Star Wars through the lens of critical theory. Do you know what I mean? That type of stuff. So that was what my ambition with Swing Kids was, to pick Swing Kids and Nicki Minaj, two kind of cultural moments. Swing Kids, obviously no one's seen, but to do a media analysis combined with a political moment and to throw in some philosophy into that, which admittedly is probably one of the least philosophical videos I've made in a while. But it did way better than, for example, the fascism of happiness, which was purely mostly theory. Well, there was media analysis in that too. Anyway, I am rambling so much. I love how earlier I was like, I'm gonna go unless anyone asks me questions, and now I've been like rambling for like an hour. Oh my god! Also, my playlist stopped. We ran out of music. Okay, let me just put like some random lo-fi on or something. Lo-fi Christmas beats. We're not gonna do that. Lo-fi introvert radio. That sounds very perfect for me. Yeah. All right, sorry, just reading through the chat. Okay, sorry, I'm a little bit behind on the chat. I'm gonna read through now. Loving all these meows. Fantastic. Are there some trans cat girls in the chat? May I clock you? She says with her literal cat ears. I have leather cat ears right there. Headland says, girl, you're a frontier philosopher and your methodological rigor is just so clear. I am so I'm very flattered to hear you say that. That's very, very kind. It's weird for me to hear that because I think in my head, I don't see myself as like, I think I have a lot of imposter syndrome in seeing myself as an academic. Like, I have done a master's degree in philosophy, but in that degree, I felt like the least well read person there. I have never read Hegel. Do you know what I mean? I like don't know about a lot of academic referencing and references, and um I often view myself as like just a bimbo girl who's like happens to have read some books. So I'm very, very flattered by that description. You're very kind. Yeah, the imposter syndrome is so deep set, but you're like chipping away at it a little bit. um so yeah, thank you. Listening to Lovecraft while dilating sounds metal. I'm not gonna lie, kind of is a bit. The cosmic horror of shoving things inside your body. Anyway, we'll try not to get demonetized here, so that's all I'll say. Adeline says, please trust your philosophical instincts. Thank you. I will try to do that more, and I will try to, yeah. I yeah, I really appreciate your messages today. That's honestly made me feel a little bit better about, yeah, moving forward with things. And I unfortunately, when you're a content creator, this thing happens where you can create content that YouTube doesn't push out and think that therefore people aren't interested in it. And I'm definitely guilty of that. So it's helpful for me to know that people enjoy the content even when it doesn't get pushed out. The other thing is that I'm very bad at marketing myself, and that's something that I do want to really kind of work on, is marketing myself better, because at the end of the day we got bills to pay, but it's something that I really really struggle with. Yeah. Karatek has to go. Goodbye, Karatek. It was so lovely hanging out with you tonight. Um, okay, lovely humans. I think as since Karatek's left, there's no point continuing. So no. But in all seriousness, I think this is a good stopping point. We've streamed for approximately 2 hours here tonight. I am gonna go and have some dinner. I'm gonna go see if I can find this mouse. Um, Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. I really appreciate it. I will keep you updated on the next video. Hopefully, it won't take too long. Yeah, thank you for all your support. It's been very lovely hanging out with you all. Oh, so you don't haggle Max? You're no, I don't. I don't even know if I like him, but I haven't actually read him, but I feel like I won't. Pretty sure he's a white guy, so I don't think I need any more of that. Anyway. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. If you are here watching the replay, thank you so much for being here as well and for watching. Feel free to stick around for more future video essays and live streams after video essays. Um, if you watched the replay of this, I'm so impressed with your attention span. Like, wow. Incredible work. And to all of you who have been here live, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope that you have a lovely rest of your weekend. And I will bid you adieu. Goodbye. Goodbye.